everyone, it's Katie from Paradise Falls family. In this video we'll be taking you through our trip to Western Canada, including Vancouver, Vancouver Island and Whistler. We actually did this trip around 2.5 years ago now, but as we're between trips and we're really looking forward to our next trip to Canada this summer, we thought we'd throw in a little series talking through what we got up to. This trip was before we started this channel, so please forgive us for the iffy videos and footage. Hopefully we can still give you a good guide and some tips throughout. We spoke through the first part of this trip in Vancouver and Victoria in our last 2 vlogs already on our channel, and we'll concentrate here on the final stop in Whistler where we spent 3 nights. As always, we'll talk you through what we did day by day with some tips and useful information along the way. So waking up in Victoria, we quickly got on the road up to Nanaimo to catch our ferry back over to the mainland. The ferry again was a lovely ride over, if a little windy, but the scenery was just amazing. No whales again though, unfortunately. Our destination was Horseshoe Bay, which is north of Vancouver, over the Lionsgate Bridge and up the coast a little. It's also right near Bowen Island, which is where the TV show Harper's Island was filmed, which is one of our niche favourites. We were able to drive off the ferry and get on our way easily, and headed north up the Sea to Sky Highway to Whistler, about an hour and a half away. The drive is beautiful, even with the weather being as iffy as it was, with amazing landscapes and scenery all around. Our main stop on the way up was the Sea to Sky gondola, but there were also a few roadside pullovers on the way, like Tunnel Point Lookout and Shannon Falls Provincial Park, which was also a nice easy stop off. Further on up, the Sea to Sky gondola takes you up into the mountains above the road, with walking trails and a cafe at the top. The views back down to the bay are supposed to be amazing. For us, of course, it was incredibly foggy, so we couldn't really see anything. On a clear day, it's possible to sometimes even see whales swimming down below, so we were pretty disappointed, but it couldn't be helped. We had a short walk around some of the trails at the top, and then grabbed some lunch in the cafe. Overall, it was fun. On a clear day, it would have been amazing, but with the weather being what it was a bit of a bust for us. These days it costs around 160 Canadian dollars for a family of 4, so not particularly cheap, but I think worth it on a nice summer clear day. Back on the road, we made one more stop at Brandywine Falls Provincial Park before we hit Whistler. This one was a little more of a walk, but it was still really easy. It was a paved path and only a short walk, but I have to say it was a little bit nervy going through the woods on the lookout for bears. There was evidence that they'd been there with ripped up logs, so make sure to be aware. The falls themselves were spectacular, definitely worth stopping for, so if you're doing this drive, make sure to set aside some time to stop here. It was then just a short drive into Whistler, where we checked in at the West Inn Resort for 3 nights. The West Inn is located right in the middle of Whistler, a great location where I think you can ski into the hotel in winter, and it's within walking distance of the centre and all the shops and restaurants. We'd booked a studio suite to fit all of us in, which had a separate bedroom with a kitchen, dining area and a lounge including a fireplace. There was a sofa bed in the lounge to fit us all in, and it was a lovely, cosy place to stay for the last 3 nights of our trip. Having travelled for most of the day, we parked the car at the hotel and took it easy, wandering into town for some dinner before spending the evening in the swimming pool. The pool has a small indoor area which links to the outdoor pool, which is bigger and heated. There's also a hot tub, so even though it was pretty chilly, we had a great time playing and relaxing. The next morning we wandered back into town to do some shopping and explore a little bit more. We picked up some souvenirs and got some photos with the Olympic rings at the Olympic Plaza. There's also a really good kids play area here, so the kids had some fun racing around before we grabbed a quick lunch and headed back to the hotel for our afternoon bear viewing safari. Whistler is home to a large concentration of black bears all around the town, and it's not uncommon to see them in and around the town. Our guide said they will quite often cross right through the middle of town, so make sure to keep aware. We'd booked a tour to get into the woods and see them in their natural habitat with Whistler photo safaris. This took just the four of us out in a 4x4 Jeep for around 2.5 hours in the woods in and around the Olympic Park. We knew with it being October, our chances of seeing any bears were reduced, but we wanted to try nonetheless. We didn't in fact see any bears on the tour, which was pretty disappointing. However, we did all still enjoy it. It was exciting to be on the lookout for the bears, going off-road a bit, seeing the woods, learning about the bears, where and how they live. There was lots of evidence of bear activity with torn up trees etc, but just no bears unfortunately. The tour takes you through the Olympic Park, so we did get to see some more of this, including the ski jump where we were able to get out and go and stand at the top and enjoy the amazing views. Again, bears are frequently seen here, sometimes interrupting events, but just none today. The tour was pretty pricey and it's currently around $200 Canadian per adult and $139 per child. If we'd have seen bears, we'd have said it was definitely worth it for the experience. But without it, it did feel like a lot of money. If you're here in summer, I'd definitely give it a go when your chances of seeing a bear are much greater. The tour was still really good though, our guide excellent, and we always felt safe as well, which is important. So do make sure to check out the Whistler photo safaris. Back at the hotel again, we took it easy with dinner at the hotel restaurant, which was really good, and then some more pool time. We also took advantage of the fireplace, cozying up after a lovely day. For our final full day of the holiday, we decided to get out and about a bit in the car. First though, Greg went for a walk in the town while we had a lie-in, and lo and behold, he actually saw a bear right in the middle of town. After all the effort we went to the previous day, we couldn't believe it. He'd gone for a walk to the other side of town where the gondola is to see a little bit more of Whistler. The gondola unfortunately wasn't operating while we were there as we were between seasons, but it's a nice part of town and has a lot going on in summer and winter. To get there you need to cross Blackcomb Way, which almost cuts the town in two. As he was approaching, someone warned him there was a bear up ahead near the path, and so carrying on carefully, he spotted the bear down the road next to the busy main road. There was a bit of a crowd watching from a distance, and the bear didn't seem to care. It was an amazing experience and all purely by chance. The kids and I were absolutely gutted we decided to stay in bed. After that excitement, we all headed out for the day, firstly to the Whistler Sliding Centre. This is up on the edge of town and has a full bobsled run. I think at certain times you can even try this yourself, but today there were practice sessions for the national teams as they warmed up for their various competitions. We had a great time watching them shoot past and even saw the Jamaican Bobsleigh team go down. This was completely free and something a bit different, so a really fun experience. Moving on, we drove back down the Sea to Sky Highway a little to the Britannia Mine Museum, around 45 minutes away. This isn't somewhere that would normally be on our radar to visit, but it sounded interesting and we thought we could spend a fun few hours here. We had a quick McDonald's lunch just down the road, enjoying some poutine, and then we headed in. The website recommends around 2 hours, and this is probably about what we spent here. The visit includes a guided tour of the site and the award-winning Boom show inside the old factory, which was really good. You're then taken inside the mountain on a train, which is fascinating and a really cool experience as you learn about life here in the town. To end with, there's also a gold panning station, which the kids absolutely loved, finding gems and little bits and pieces. It was pretty cold on your hands, but it was a lot of fun. In the end, we thought this was a really good find. It was a really fun afternoon, more so than we were expecting to be honest, so we'd really recommend setting aside a few hours here if you can. At $130 Canadian for the four of us, it felt pretty reasonably priced too. Heading back to Whistler, we again had a chilled evening with dinner in town and some more pool time to end our stay here. We'd loved Whistler. It was a really laid back town and really relaxing stay in such a beautiful part of the world. Once again, in summer, it probably would have been that bit nicer to get out and up on the gondola a bit, or even try some zip lining. Or even in winter, you could try some of the winter activities as well. Nevertheless, we loved it here and would really encourage you to add a stay if you're in Vancouver or the surrounding area. The next morning, we drove back south to Vancouver, stopping for a few hours at the Park Royal Mall just north of the city to kill some time before our flight. It was a good place for some shopping and had our new favourite store, Indigo. It was also handy to have some lunch in the food court. Then it was on to the airport to drop off our car and fly home to end a wonderful visit to Canada. So that brings me to the end of this series covering our trip. It's been a pretty high level run through compared to our normal videos, mainly because it was a while ago now. But we hope these videos were useful for your trip, and if you've got any questions or any other tips, then please let me know in the comments below. Next week we'll be beginning a new series covering our recent Mediterranean cruise with Royal Caribbean, so keep an eye out for that. And then we've got another trip to Canada and Alaska later this summer, so loads more to come. And finally, please like this video and subscribe to our channel if you'd like to see more from us, as it really does make a huge difference. Thank you all so much for watching.